if you look at managed services, they kind of fall into 6 delivery areas. One is, of course, end user support. That's your help desk. That's the troubleshooting. That's the something's down and you got to jump in and fix it. Okay. So there's end user support. There's core infrastructure management and services like managing the servers, routers, switches, all the things. There's risk mitigation. And that's everything to do with cybersecurity backup and compliance. So anything you're doing that to lower the risk for that business owner to loss is data loss, downtime, ransomware, rogue employee, any of those things. That's all mitigating risk for that client. Now, I know a lot of people say VCIO. I just told Will, I'm not going to say VCIO because I don't like that. Virtual CIO, what does that mean? Like you never visit with them. So I like the term fractional CIO leadership. So what that means is, just like there's organizations, like we have a fractional marketing manager. So they're not a full-time employee. We sell it as a service. You have a fractional marketing manager. They're dedicated to you. They do the things for you, but they're not a full-time employee. And so that is like leadership. That's sitting down with your clients and saying, okay, here's where you are today. Where we got to look at risk, like where security, backup, compliance. We got to look at just getting your network to good. So up to par. Which is fully integrated into your whatever your service stack is. And then we got to look at ways to be more productive and grow your organization, make you more competitive, et cetera, right? And sitting down and doing a budget and sitting down with your client and saying, okay, here's the roadmap. Here's where you are. Here's where we're going to be. You have this, you're going to have to upgrade these workstations. We're going to have to move you to this. We're going to, having that POAM in place where you're saying, okay, we got to get you compliant. We're not going to get it there in a month. So let's put a roadmap in place. So with the, we can increase the budget so you can account for that. It's doing those kinds of services. That's what your QBRs are. It's where you're hopefully, you're being that fractional CIO leader to your organization. You're not just showing up and like the Maytag repair guy and fixing stuff when it breaks. You're actually taking a leadership role, right? And again, I see a lot of managed service providers, they are not taking that leadership role. They just jump in and fix stuff. Professional services, moves, add changes, projects that you're doing, and then proactive account management. That's more of like your sales, customer service, which could be still in that fractional CIO. But usually what you're going to do, like Will's organization, he has account managers who are salespeople, and they are bringing in his CISO, maybe bringing in John. I don't know what's John's title with
Chief Compliance Officer.
Yeah. So they're kind of coordinating the leaders to come together, make sure that they all play nice and making sure the client's happy and things are billed properly and money's collected and all the things. Right. And I want to just say, however you want to break this down, you should have a core philosophy of what you believe excellent IT support to be. Just like I have a core philosophy about marketing. Like one of my core philosophies is we use direct response. We don't do just branding for branding's sake, right? We don't measure success of campaigns by hashtags. We measure it by leads and opportunities opened and sales closed, right? That's a core philosophy belief I have about marketing. Not everybody believes that. There are a lot of marketing firms out there that are branding specialists that'll make your website look beautiful, but they're not. The core philosophy is I spend $1 today, I want $2, hopefully $5 back, and I want it tomorrow as quickly as I can turn that dollar. Not all, like that's a core philosophy of what I believe good marketing is. It should facilitate sales. It should build trust. It should be designed to put you in a position of power and authority. So you prescribe instead of prospect. See, I'm just iterating my philosophy. You need to have a philosophy. Here's what good support is, and you align everything around that. Will, do you want to comment on that or?
No, everything you're saying is absolutely correct. We've got one comment here. Annual price increases are only scary the first year. And Don, that's exactly right. We build in a 5% increase, even though they signed a 3-year contract. We build a 5% increase every year. January, so November, we notify the price increase for the new year, just of a subset of our clients. And we gain an extra $37,000 a month of MOR by just having that price increase. And that helps offset inflation, extra cost that comes down the pipeline and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. I mean, you can always, and you can position it differently. You can say in our contract, we even guarantee not to raise prices more than 5% every year on the services you're paying. Now, if there's new services, that's different, right? You got to be very clear. We add on a new service, that's something entirely different. But for the services you have, we'll even make sure that we don't just hit you with a massive price increase out of the blue. We have it built in because we know there's going to be, inflation's going to go up, right? Okay.
And then Robin, we have a question, how to measure profitability per client or for the entire business. And I would say both. You want to know the profitability of the client because to see if that client is profitable or if you need to get rid of them or you need to have a price raise conversation. But then also for the whole company as well. And I look at it as simple as this. If you have $170, okay, and $100 is your hard and soft cost to support your direct labor costs, all your tools to support, you got $70 left. $50 of that is you're going to spend on your overhead, insurance, rent on your office, internet, printing, marketing, that type of stuff. That $20 out of the 70, that should be your net profit. That should be your savings. If that's the simplest way to explain net profit, gross margins, gross profit and stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes they say 50, 30, 20. So 50% is, 50% is going to be, that's your gross margin. And like Greg Crabtree says, your contribution margin or gross margin is the first dollar you can spend internally. Because if it costs you get $1 and it costs you 50 cents to deliver that thing. Like if this mug costs, $1, if I mark it up to $2, it cost me $1. So if I charge $2, I have $1 I can now spend on sales and marketing, customer service, general overhead. They usually call it GS&A, general service administration, or general sales administration. And so those are costs. So usually it's 50 and 30% is going to be the bucket for SG&A. And then you get 20% net profit. Okay. Now, sometimes I'll also throw in there's a thing called the rule of 40. So if you look at a company and let's say your net is only 10%, but you're growing 30%, as long as your growth, your CAGR, compound annual growth rate is whatever percentage that is, plus your net, as long as it equals 40, you're doing okay. So, I'm not saying I suggest this, but what that rule would suggest would be you could be not profitable as long as you're growing 40%, because the idea is that you're taking profits and you're plowing it back into growth. All right. So there is also that rule of 40, and there have been years in my business where we weren't as profitable because we were plowing money back into growth, but then it came back the next year. So you'll see it in growth. So just another way to look at what your spend is and your profits. All right.